Welcome back to IELTSBand 9. Today's lesson is about real questions in the speaking section. The students need to know what kind of questions exist in the speaking section in IELTS and how exactly they're supposed to approach. Let's begin. In part 1, examiners are asking either about the place that you live, or they ask you about if you study or if you work and so on. There's no other questions in part 1, aside from 15 other topics that I'm gonna introduce you momentarily. When the examiners are asking you, where do you live? You shouldn't answer with one simple word or phrase. Your answers should be long. Any question that the examiners are asking you, you need to provide answer, provide an example, and provide the reason. So for example, when the examiner is asking you, where do you live? You need to answer as, I live in Toronto, for example. Toronto is a business capital. I've been living in here since so-and-so. And this is the city that I'm planning to continue my education and my life. And you can add up more examples to it. So any question that the examiners are asking you should be one of those sections that you need to elaborate the answers in a longer version. Provide the answer, provide the example to extend your answer. Make sure that your sentences are not simple sentences. They are complex and compound sentences. By using good vocabulary and good conjunctions, you get higher marks. If the examiners, for example, are asking you, how often do you travel? You don't simply say once a week or once a year or once a month. You need to elaborate the answer and then provide an example of the last trip, memorable trip that you've had, for example. If they ask you, where do you enjoy reading the most? Don't simply say in my bedroom or in the living room or at the cafe in the neighborhood. You simply need to say why the cafe in the neighborhood is a posh spot or is an enjoyable spot for you to continue enjoying the reading. If they ask you, have you studied math at high school? Don't say yes and no. Even though this is a yes-no question, you must provide a thorough, detailed answer with examples and explanation. Make sure your answers are long, complex, with good vocabulary. In part 2, the examiners are asking you about the topic. For example, if they ask you about art, a piece of art that you like, there are 3 bullet points that the examiner will give you on a task card or the booklet or the topic booklet that we call it. And they provide you, the examiners will provide you with a piece of paper and a pencil if you're taking the regular face-to-face speaking test. If you're taking the online version of the test, which is a new test that that is assigned with British Council, more than welcome to wait for the examiner, and the administration will provide you with a piece of paper, but the examiner will show you your topic. So for example, your topic would look like such a thing. Describe a piece of art that you like, and then 3 bullet points that you want to answer. For this specific section, you must answer each question specifically and provide the details. Introduce that piece of art that you enjoy. Could be a painting, could be drawing, could be sculpting, could be any kind of art that you enjoy. And you talk about what kind of work that art is, and then when you saw it first and what you know about it. In this section, the trick is it is very challenging for the candidates to speak longer than 1 minute. You must speak for 2 minutes plus until the moment that you hear that the examiner says, thank you. You should not stop speaking. That's the trick. And then, of course, the examiner will ask you a follow-up question after this that you need to continue keeping your answers long and thorough. For part 3 is pretty much the same as part 2. If part 2 is about art, the topic, part 3 is also about topic, about art, but this part of the speaking section is a little different because in part 1 and part 2, you can talk about all your experiences, your loved ones, and your family members. In part 3, however, you should not talk about yourself. You must compare cultures. You must compare different nationalities, different ethical background, for example, different ethnicities and different countries and different regions and so on. You can, if, for example, if the topic is about, do you think that art is important as academic subject when it comes to educating children, you can express your opinion, if that is a yes or no and why, by providing an example. Then you can compare, contrast countries that consider art needs to be inserted into students' curriculum at school, and they need to get educated as well as the academic. If they ask you about the advantages and disadvantages of art education, keep your answers long and make sure that you definitely provide at least 2 positive points and 2 negative points, because if you provide just 1 positive and 1 negative, you need to explain your answer and keep your answers long. The trick is we do not stop speaking in the IELTS sections up until the moment that you hear thank you from the examiner's side. You continue your answers, but you keep yourself alert. Pay attention and focus on the examiner's command. The examiner will tell you when to stop by saying thank you. The third question in part 3, the examiner might ask you, why do you think some people enjoy looking at paintings and sculpture and others don't? This question is somewhat confusing because the students might think that, oh, well, I don't know why they enjoy looking. Keep it simple. Your answers can be very simple. Consider yourself, put yourself in someone's shoes without saying I. You can say people enjoy looking at painting because they appreciate the painter's talent, the color, and of course the amusement of how human brain can create and enjoy art at times, and then provide the examples and details. That is about part 1 and part 2 and part 3. Make sure you keep your answers long. The next element that I prepared for this session is how to keep your answers creative, because in order to speak as aligned as a native speaker, you are supposed to have good vocabulary in hand. I prepared a couple of those vocabulary for this session that you can pause this video, make sure that you share this video, you subscribe, and you follow me on Instagram as well. And if you follow this video, you'll see that. And then share this video with your friends. Pause and take notes and make an example on your end. The first expression, these expressions are absolutely essential for IELTSBand 9. The first expression is error in something. For example, errors in pronunciation were always corrected. Did you make any errors in pronunciation? You can pause this video and make your own sentence. Comment it under this video and write down your simple and sample sentences, and I will comment on your sentences. Don't forget to share this video with your friends as well. The next two expressions for speaking are fluency in something. For example, her fluency in French is amazing, or fluency in languages is amazing. The next expression is knowledge of something. Her knowledge of French culture is amazing, or everyone was impressed by their knowledge of English. Pause this video, make sentences in the comment box, and share this with your friends after subscribing the video. The next expression, these are essential expressions for your speaking section. Make sure you definitely use them. Insert it even in the chat with your friends on your daily text messages and so on. The more you practice, the more you use it in your casual conversation, the better, and the more you can just engrave them in your subconscious. Practice with something is the next expression. You can say, I need more practice with the violin, or the students ask for more practice with the piano. The next expression is proficiency in something. For example, your proficiency in Russian language is impressive, or she has little proficiency in Tagalog. The next essential expression is pronunciation of something. The pronunciation of French words is challenging, and my pronunciation of French is incomprehensible. Remember the prepositions that you're using for each expression is absolutely essential. Make sure that you never forget the proper preposition. The next expression is rule for something. Do you know the rule for subject and verb agreement? Or another example is we learn the rules for the correct grammar. The next two expressions are translation of something. She's practicing on a translation of Arabic language, or understanding of something as the next expression. The understanding of French language is quite good. The next expression is translation from something into something else. For example, his translation from English to German was accurate. Pause this video, subscribe to this video, share it with your friends, and make examples with any of these expressions. And then ask your questions in the comment box as well. Many of you guys asked me to add this video. I will add new videos every day. So make sure you follow and subscribe for more.